Motorola's first ever book-style fold is already challenging the Pixel 11 Pro Fold. It costs the exact same $1,899, but gives you double the storage, making it effectively $120 cheaper, which makes the Razr look like the obvious pick. But it's not that simple. Let me show you. Design is where the Razr makes its strongest first impression. Its textured vegan leather back genuinely feels premium. The grip is excellent. The rounded sides make it easier to hold. And even the camera bump sits completely flat on a table. But that premium feel comes with compromises. The material scratches and marks easily. And the buttons aren't great, they're placed too high. And the AI key sits so close to the volume button that accidental presses are almost guaranteed. Worse, you can't even remap it. The Pixel takes the opposite approach. It doesn't feel as exciting. And honestly, the design is starting to look a little dated, but it's built for long-term use. You get full IP68 water and dust resistance, built-in magnets for accessories, and highlight on the back. The Razr feels like the more premium device, but the Pixel is the one I trust after years of daily use. And this is where the Razr looks like it destroys the Pixel. The numbers are ridiculous. A 6000 nit cover display, 6200 nits inside, a 165Hz refresh rate, and a much flatter crease. On paper, Motorola wins this category easily, but here's the thing. Neither phone has an anti-reflective coating. But the Pixel does have a few advantages. The inner display handles reflections better, making it easier to see outdoors. The colors look more natural, and the wider cover screen is simply easier to type on. But when you put everything together, the Razr still takes this one. Performance is another clear win for the Razr. It runs the Snapdragon 8 Gen 5, not the top elite chip, but still faster than Google's Tensor G6, and noticeably cooler. Now, the Pixel isn't slow. Google controls Android, the Tensor, and the software, so everything is tightly optimized. And in everyday use, you probably won't notice much difference, but push both phones with gaming or heavier tasks, and the Tensor runs hotter. And on a phone you're keeping for years, that matters. This is where the Razr starts feeling like a true foldable, because having a bigger screen only matters if you can actually use that extra space. The Razr is a multitasking monster. It can run a 3-app split view while the Pixel is still limited to 2, and Google finally fixed one of Pixel Fold's biggest weaknesses with Android 17, adding pop-up windows that can run up to 5 apps. But the Razr can handle around 50 floating windows. Add in its proper desktop mode with a trackpad, and support for the Moto Pen Ultra, and the Pixel simply can't compete here. For productivity, the Razr wins by a huge margin. But here's where Google fights back. A foldable isn't just a mini laptop. It's still a phone you'll use every day, and that's where Pixel has the advantage. The software is cleaner, updates arrive faster, and Google's AI features are more polished. Both promise 7 years of updates. But Google's track record is much stronger, so this isn't really one winner. If you want your foldable to replace a tablet, the Razr wins easily. But if you want the smoother phone experience you'll live with every day, the Pixel has a real advantage. Cameras are where things get interesting, because on paper, the Razr should win this easily. A triple 50-megapixel setup sounds like a complete advantage. And honestly, Motorola finally has a camera system worth talking about. The telephoto is impressive, and the photos have a lot of punch. But the problem is consistency, and that's where Pixel does what Pixel always does. You get more natural colors, better low-light performance, more reliable video, and a real 5x optical zoom compared to the Razr's 3x. So if you want the camera you can trust every single time, that's the Pixel. The battery isn't even close. The Razr packs a massive 6000 mAh silicon carbon battery, almost 1200 mAh more than the Pixel. And this is the kind of battery life foldable owners actually want, and charging makes the gap even bigger. The Pixel's only advantage is the built-in magnets, which are convenient, but they don't make up for the differences. The Pixel can get you through a day, but with heavier use. The Tensor runs warmer and drains faster. So after putting everything together, I actually think Motorola wins this one. You get double the storage and it gives you more of what makes a foldable exciting. But if you want a safer phone for normal use, get the Pixel. Anyway, If you want to see how the Pixel 11 Pro Fold holds up against the Samsung Z Fold 8 Ultra, I broke that whole thing down right here. This is Tech Tics, and I'll see you there.